Rand Water will reduce water pressure for 3 municipalities due to the non-payment for services. It has confirmed they are the Emfuleni local municipality in Gauteng and the Victor Khanye and the Govan Mbeki local municipalities in Mpumalanga. For more on this, I'm joined now by Rand Water General Manager Tebogo Jwala. Tebogo, good evening and thank you very much for your time tonight on the Newsfeed Late Night. First and foremost, the affected municipalities where you are now going to effect credit control measures. How long has this been going for?
Well, thank you very much, Tabu. No, look, this problem or challenge has been going on for a while. It became a little worsened early this year, and as a result of COVID and the regulation that obviously as part of the National Command Center limited us from reducing the pressure in those municipalities. I think some of them had already started around December, January 2020, and then we had to give in at that time and continue to supply at 100%. But it's a challenge that we have been communicating with the municipalities. We have been giving them an opportunity to, with various combination of assistance, including extending the payment turnaround time to 45 days instead of 30 days, giving them interest-free holidays, and they haven't come up with the money, and that is in a sense threatening even the ability of Rand Water to continue as a going concern. So we had to come and to this time where we are reducing the pressure by 20%.
So having taken all that action in terms of engaging them at various intervention points, what are we hearing from the municipalities? Are they just simply unable to meet their obligations, or is there just no willingness to meet those obligations?
No, certainly. Not speaking on their behalf around the reason why they're not able to come up with the money or why are they not keeping up with the payments. What is apparent and clear is that they are far behind. I mean, in the case of Emfuleni, we're talking R1 billion in arrears and another just over 100 million rand on the current account. So that is the current the areas that are growing. So just before COVID, they were sitting with areas of just under or just over 700 million. So the amount has ballooned by no less than 300 million in the intervening period. So reasoning that they're not paying and what is happening within the municipalities is something that we as Rand Water are able to really speak about or speak to. So what we know for sure is that they have not been coming up with the payments. And remember, we pay for our raw water, we pay for consumables, our overheads, including salaries. And unfortunately this year, we must remember that we are on the back foot. Our tariff increase request was rejected by Parliament, where we had requested to at least meet up with the inflation of 6%. So we don't have the increase. So that also put a very big hole in our financials and our planning. We had to restructure the way we had planned on the capex and some of the OPEX interventions. So we really are not in a good position to be continuing to supply these municipalities with water without really making a dent on the arrears. And unfortunately, they're also not even able to keep up with the current account, as I mentioned earlier.
Now, in terms of the president's district model, right, he's supposed to be, even at national level right now, be sitting with a dashboard that should be giving him red lights to say these municipalities are not performing, not doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as service delivery is concerned, and there should be engagement that is happening at some level or even at provincial level, where this now has supposed to be picked up and not just be dealt with at municipal level. Have you, as Rand Water, had any engagement with province or with national on these particular matters?
Certainly. I mean, part of the engagement that I was referring to, we have been engaging with COGTA Gauteng for the last 6-7 months at least. We have had countless meetings. We had we extended the engagements to National Treasury. We extended also to our National Department of Water and Sanitation to see how best can those municipalities be assisted. Of course, it's a matter of rands and cents, and there is various intervention which the provincial and national give in terms of grants and so on to municipalities. So what we're not sure is how is it that throughout that process of engagement and with both the provincial and national, these 3 municipalities. Remember, we supply water to 16 municipalities, 3 of which are the metros in Gauteng, Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Emfuleni, and the rest are local municipalities. And most of them, as you can see, have been coming up with payments. They've been able to try and keep up with their current accounts and areas where possible, where they would have areas. So, I mean, everybody has challenges. A number of municipalities have challenges, but with these 3, of course, the problem has been much more severe. Hence, we had to come up with this intervention. So, I mean, with regard to the district model, it's something that, of course, from government point of view, those COGTA and other departments that are concerned, including Treasury, can be able to speak with a level of better insight than us. We interacting with them based on the customer and supplier point of view, and what is of essence with us now is to keep Rand Water as a going concern and be able to take care of all our expenses. And if you remember, Thabo, that the Rand Water is a Schedule 3B SOE, which means simply that we receive no grants or subsidies from any government or entities. So the only money that we receive for funding purpose is that money that which the municipality pay us for the services and for the water that we are supplying to them. So we are not subsidized at all. We don't receive any money from National Treasury. So we have to really be strict in terms of and savvy with regard to how we do our debt management and credit control.
You see, I'm just asking that because under the model, all 3 spheres of government are supposed to coordinate and integrate in terms of plans, in terms of budgets. And you're saying right now, in terms of budgets, there's seemingly something that's going on with these municipalities that they are unable to meet their obligations, whether is it a lack of resources or whatever. And I know you might not be able to answer to that. But my other question would be, has there been any intention from province or expressed by national to say, well, we are looking at this and you can have our word that it will be addressed, or any such commitment being made?
Yes, certainly. In those interactions that you are referring to, there is an intention. Like I said, people that can speak with authority with regard to what then happens after those meetings are those bodies that I was referring to, the provincial and national structures, which is in the form of a COGTA, TWS, and National Treasury. What we discuss in those meetings is how best can we assist the municipalities. There's a number of interventions, some of which include private sector intervention in those municipalities. There's a program in Gauteng, very progressive program called Adopt a Municipality, where a number of big private entities have sought to come in and intervene, both technically and with their resources. I'm not sure how far they do intervene financially, but there's a number of combinations wherein the private and public enterprises are trying to really assist the municipality, whether in a form of resources, in the form of ensuring that the efficiencies are improved, whether there is a collection, whether it's a managing of their leaks, if there are any in the water. Because remember, part of our problem is that we have a lot of non-revenue water where the municipality pays us, or at least we supply them water, but it gets lost somewhere in the system through leaks. So if you were to address the leakages, I mean, one of the municipalities that I know has a leakage problem of up to 40% of their water get lost through the system. But remember, they still owe us, even if they can't bill anyone for that water. So there are some of those interventions to say, how do we improve the efficiencies so that at least it reduces your debt, or you can account for and sell most of the water that you receive from bulk suppliers like Rand Water. So we do interact at various levels, but what we are not able to share with you and with authority, with the public out there and your viewers, is what happens. Why is it that even after these interactions, there is still no money that is being coming through to assist Rand Water? Maybe it does get there, we don't know. But what we can tell you is that we supply them with water, and we expect to be paid, and they bill our meters tell us how much we have supplied them, and then we expect to be paid as such.
I'll tell you what, for example, in Emfuleni, right, the Sebokeng residents believe they're not going to take part in tomorrow's by-elections because, I mean, there is no hope of them getting any form of service delivery. In fact, they feel like the VAL has completely been forgotten as far as the Gauteng province is concerned. Is there a way of, from your side, telling how much of the money, 1.1 billion that is owed, is water being used by residents and water being used by the private sector or corporates? Because many residents will tell you that a bulk of this water is actually not used by us. It's big companies, big mining companies and factories and the likes who actually use a bulk of this water, but we end up suffering because of this non-payment.
No, Thabo, with regard to that one, remember our meters point to their reservoirs, from our reservoirs to the reservoirs into the public. What then happens with the water past that? We can only account for the industry, mining houses and big customers outside municipalities that we supply directly. Inside the municipality, there's no way of us knowing. Even if we have that information, I'm not sure. I don't think we're at liberty to share how much of it and how the split looks like inside the municipality. So what we know for sure is how much we supply to them. And it's I think, between customer and supplier relationship, that level of confidentiality that we keep. And we respect that space, that they are the ones that can be at liberty to share with yourselves and the public how much of it goes to where and who owes them what. So we are not in a position really. Our relationship does not get to that level where we can share such information with everybody, with anybody else outside them, where we know. Because like I said, even in many cases, we are not even able to know how much of it goes where. There are meters, and then we control the meters between ourselves and the municipality, and it ends there.
I appreciate your time, and thank you very much for talking to us. That is the General Manager of Rand Water there, Tebogo Dwala.